Take Back Your Family.
Take Back Your Family.
Yeah.
So I won't ruin it. I'll let you talk about what is it like. What was the point of that book, and what did you mean? Like, what's a family team?
Yeah. So the point in that book is, again, this is, I kind of demonize the Industrial Revolution a little bit in that book, but of course there's obviously, we're driving cars. I'm loving my life. You know what I'm saying? So, but what's interesting about the Industrial Revolution is a trade-off that I don't think we signed the contract for, meaning like we didn't know this was actually going to happen. We didn't agree to this, was how much it disrupted the integration of a family.
Yeah.
So pre-Industrial Revolution, the father was where with his work? In the home. He was in the home, right? He's blacksmith right in the backyard. He's farming right there in the backyard. And where are the kids, by the way? They're actually probably working where? With him.
Yep.
With him. So it's a very like integrated team by the nature of the commerce. Yeah. And that has a lot of benefits to it, right? Even kid size, right? Like, by the way, have as many kids as you want or as little kids as you want. I'm not on either team. But it is interesting how psychologically we've shifted, right? In the 1800s, you wanted to have 8, 9, 10 kids. Why? Because those kids were employees,
Yep.
right? Now, we want to have 1 kid, maybe 2. Why? Because our kids are consumers. That's a very different kid identity, isn't it?
It is.
Right? We have kids now to give them safety and blessing and goodness and entertainment and, toys and all these things. And so they're consumers. So more kids means more what? Stress, anxiety, and pressure.
Yeah. And cost.
Yes, and cost.
Yeah.
When it was actually the opposite in like the 1700s. Less kids meant all those things because you had no one to work the farm, no one to help out, no one to be with you. So I'm not saying that, there's also child labor problems back then and all that stuff. I'm just saying that's an interesting difference. Okay. So what we talk about is there's a lot of one of the poisons, here's how I'd put it. One of the poisons of Western families that I think hurts a lot of families is that it's really just a group and a collection of individuals, not a team, right? Meaning like the individual is the most important thing over and against all the other individuals. And so then what happens is competition and consumerism win in that environment because either you're competitive with each other because it's all about who can get the most resources from each other, or you just consume and leech off stuff to try to, be basically a fattened calf, right? Just like engorge your life or whatever. But a team doesn't have that philosophy. A team pools resources for what? For a mission, right? And how powerful would it be if our families actually saw ourselves as like being on mission? And I know you have a lot of like kind of business, real estate guys that listen, entrepreneurs and women and men and that listen. And to me, one of the biggest, I think, mistakes and things that makes me sad about people in that environment is they tend to be freaking A+ at teamness, for lack of a better term, in their business.
Yeah.
And it fails in their family. And so all I say is, because a lot of guys will be like, oh, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. I'm like, dude, you are doing everything it takes to be an amazing dad. You're just doing it with your employees. That's it.
Yeah.
You're actually amazing at it.
Yeah.
You hold team meetings. You cast a vision. You have goals. You kind of tap in certain resources and people. You say, oh, you're really good at this. Boom, I need you to be this. Yeah. You're really good at this. I need you to do this. Oh, you two together, you guys are phenomenal at this and you guys wouldn't be able to do that solo. I need you guys to join up. And so it's like, man, bring all of that into your family. And so we do, like you come into our family, we have little kids still, 9, 7, and 4. We do Sunday family meetings and we talk about goals. Our 9-year-old and our 7-year-old know what's in our bank account and we're casting vision and we're doing all these things. And what's crazy is, and there's been, again, some really interesting psychological research on children. Up until age 4, the most important thing a child needs is self-esteem, right? Meaning like that, or like unconditional love, excuse me. It's kind of similar, but unconditional love. Kind of that like, you're loved no matter what, you're loved no matter what. You would think that would go till 18. Now, of course, it's important, but what's really interesting? After 4, they don't measure that as the most important thing anymore. They found that the most important thing is just meaning and purpose. So up until 4, your kid needs to know they're unconditionally loved. After 4, they need to know that they are freaking matter, right? So many kids, they're unconditionally loved, they don't matter. Like, well, why? Like the parent has never articulated to them, why are you here? Yeah. Like, besides just the like, whatever identity things. Meaning like, no. And we tell our kids all the time, you are here because we are a family team and we had a gap in our team that God decided to fill, and we could not go do our mission if you weren't on this team. Just like, would the Warriors be the Warriors without Steph Curry? No. Would they be the Warriors without Draymond Green? No, right? So team roles, super important, integrated for one collective mission. And so for us, it's just, man, it's a big shift, But it's, man, I think there would be a lot more blessing and goodness and love and beauty in the world if more families kind of left the consumer mindset and kind of the safety as the most important thing to actually, hey, we have a purpose together that we can only do together, not individually, and we need to rally to do that.
That's beautiful, man. You know, one way that book made an impact on me, there's one line stands out to me more than anything else, and I'll probably butcher it, but you'll know what I'm talking about, where you said, when you go to travel,
yes.
You're not, hey, dad's got a job. He's going to go travel for work because that's his thing.
Yes.
Family's sad at home that dad's not there, or maybe they're happy. It's, we are sending dad out.
Yes, as an ambassador.
As an ambassador,
totally.
for our mission.
And that one is such a psychological toy, I guess, or play, but it's crazy how it makes the world's difference.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, nothing actually changed in my behavior. I didn't like not stop traveling.
Yeah.
But what I realized is, oh no, I'm actually going out as you got to think about it like the United States, right?
Yeah.
When you send an ambassador to another country, he is not all of a sudden just like disconnected from the United States. He's literally representing the United States.
Yeah.
And so, what if you thought of fatherhood like that? That everywhere I go in work, I never take off the father hat. I'm actually representing my team.
Yeah.
I'm representing my team. And when you go back and you tell 9-year-old that, 11-year-old that, 14-year-old that, it is wild how much more. I just noticed when I changed that, it's crazy how they stopped crying when I would leave.
Yeah, same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
So then they would actually start cheering for me. They'd write me little notes. And of course, it's still hard practically.
Yep.
But man, it changes. You know, here's a better way to put it. People don't realize how much what the story they live in and the story they tell themselves and their family dictates everything. Story is everything. You believe a story and you're living in a story, and a story is also currency. And if you're not telling the right story, living in the right story, it'll change. I'll give you an example with sexuality that I always think about, right? So that's a hot button issue people talk about a lot today. There's 3 very different stories with sexuality today, right? So you got the sociological story. The sociological story be sex is about power. That's the classic one that everyone's getting canceled about right now, right? Yep. It's about power dynamics and it's all about that, okay? Of course, there's an element of truth there. That's the sociological story. Then you got the secular story. The secular story saying, no, sex isn't about power. Sex is about fulfillment and just pleasure. So sex is about just getting what you want, hedonistic, okay? Then you have the sacred story, which would be, I would say, the Christian narrative, which is sex is about covenant and oneness. Sex is actually a glue that puts a marriage together. Those are 3 very different stories. Do you think your life might be different based on which story you believe? I think so. Right? Yeah. Like if you believe that sex is all about power, you will radically use sex in a very different way than if you believe it in the sacred story. So same thing with family, right? Like that, just whatever story you believe absolutely dictates your behaviors. Absolutely dictates your behaviors. And so for me, the example you just used, we changed the story.
Yeah.
And it mattered.